What's up, everybody? Alex here with a freshly brewed cup of coffee. So here we are back again with another top 10 video. If you missed it, a few months back I did a top 10 pre-war video, and I'll post a link to that below. So today we're going to take a look at the other half of my PC, my top 10 favorite post-war cards from my collection. First off, it's important to note that I admittedly have a very small collection to choose from, so do keep that in mind as we go through these. Also, these are definitely not ranked in order of value or importance or anything like that. This is all purely subjective, an attempt to pick out the cards that I am most fond of in terms of how they look and how much they mean to me. Some of them are big cards for sure, and some of them aren't. But all of them are cards that I absolutely love, which is pretty much how I approach collecting anyway. In some cases I have bigger, more valuable cards than the ones shown here, but this ain't about value, it's about love, y'all. You're also going to quickly notice a bias towards New York players, and that's of course because I mostly focus on the golden era of baseball in New York, when the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Yankees owned the national spotlight. So hey, it may not be a traditional top 10, but that's exactly what I think will make it more fun. Okay, so with all of that said, let's get started. So let's get this started with a banger, shall we? This is the very first time I strayed from building the 1953 Bowman Color set. I got this while I was still in the middle of that build. It was just something about this card that called out to me at the time. This card doesn't seem to get as much love as some of his others do, but this is my favorite Jackie card, and some days I even think it's my favorite post-war card of all time. There's something incredibly unique about 1949 Bowman, the way they look, the way they were made. They're rough and a bit crude, but they have this artfulness about them that really make them stand out. This one is special, of course, because of the player and his story, what it says about baseball and our country, and for all of those reasons, I can stare at this card all day long. In fact, I've really been staring at this card ever since I got it years back, and in a way, this card was the first in establishing how I collect now, which is that I only want cards that I will never get tired of enjoying. This is my favorite Clemente, and it's my favorite from 1956 Topps, a set with a ton of great cards. There's something very special about Clemente leaping to make this grab in Ibbott's field. The yellows and the reds and the blue nameplate always help make this card pop out from amongst my other cards in my collection. If I could only have one Clemente card, it'd be this one. What's more stunning than a Stan Musial Red Heart? Not much. Of course, I adore the Stan the Man 1953 Bowman Color card, but this one may just be his best. Red Heart had one go at the baseball card thing, and they knocked it out of the park. The colors, the blue diamond nameplate at the bottom. Every time I see it, I think of my good pal at the end of the bar, Don from Don's Field of Dreams, the biggest Musial fan I know. Just love this card. Willie Mays has more popular cards, his rookie for starters, and my favorite is probably his 1952 Bowman, but I think this one deserves more love. It's just so cool to see Willie on the dugout steps, bat in hand, ready to take on the game of baseball, paired with the fact that this is from 1954, the season when Willie would make his immortal catch and his Giants would win their last championship for New York. This card captures a ton of sweet vibes from baseball history, all with a great big grin on Willie's face. So say hey, this is a super cool card. At first glance you might say, really Alex? The 1950 Bowman Snider? Gee, this card is alright, but it's nothing special. I mean, doesn't Duke Snider have better cards? Well, maybe, but let me try to relay to you what I see when I look at this card. I see a treasure trove of Brooklyn Dodger history. I see Ibbott's Field. I see 1950s baseball. I see the dugout with a utility box and a bell up on the wall. A leather bag on the dugout steps. Maybe that's a trainer's bag. You can kind of see somebody sitting in the dugout, in fact. The usher poking his head into the dugout, maybe having a conversation with someone that we can't see in the image. The executive in the stands checking out the field before game time, this card just has all sorts of little micro stories embedded into it like a graphic novel or a comic book, and that is something that makes this card come alive for me every time I see it. The stories that go beyond the single image that you start with. 1952 Topps can be hit or miss at times in its depiction of players, but this one's a definite hit for me. Monty is front and center with a big, beautiful grin on his face, his New York Giants cap resting loosely on his head, the orange New York logo blazing at the top, the classic 52 Topps marquee lit up at the bottom with Monty's name. The colors and that expression are to me the perfect reminder of the pure joy of baseball that is so often associated with this era. When it comes to post-war, I mainly live in the 40s and 50s, and have only ventured outside of those decades once thus far for this particular card. There will be more 60s cards in the future, but for now, I'll settle for this, which, strange as it may sound, is probably my favorite Sandy Koufax card. I don't even really know if I can explain it, but there's just something about the pose, the color, the overall look of this card, with the red and yellow panels popping out at the bottom, that to me make this feel as epic and as legendary as Sandy's short but remarkable career. I made a video that tries to capture just how I feel about this card a while back, so I'll include a link to it below in case you're interested. The photo used to create this card is one of the most iconic in the game, so much that it's been used in several designs. This is probably my favorite of those, capturing Campy in action, tossing his mask up to find the foul ball in the Brooklyn sky, with a bit of his home turf at Ebbets Field caught in the background. Just delightful. A shout out to my buddies Jesse at Think Blue 77 and Scott at Reindeer Studios, who know firsthand just how cool this card really is. Check out Reindeer Studios' channel to see exactly what I mean. I'll post a link to that video down below. I need to get some Bowman color representation on this list, so I'll go to a trusty old friend. In a very real way, this card is a big reason that I became a collector. It's a big reason why I went after the Bowman color set to begin with, and it's a big reason why I got on YouTube. I even went to the trouble of solving the mystery of which photographer snapped this memorable photo. A link to that video is below as well. Bottom line is, this is more than just a card to me. It takes me to another place. To most, this is just a popular card. Maybe it's overplayed, overrated, but to me, this is an old friend that got me started in the hobby, and it still takes my breath away. This one may be obvious. Yes, it's a big rookie card of a big-time player. In fact, it's one of the most legendary cards of all time. But honestly, I also think it's one of the most beautiful cards of all time. Everything about the way this card looks is just spot on. The color combinations, the portrait, the action shot, the team logo. 1954 Topps is my favorite Topps set of all time, and this is the greatest card of the greatest player in that set. Just a lot of 1950s greatness. Alright, I feel like the hobby world might murder me if I don't show some Manals in a post-war collection, so here they are, getting an honorable mention, my 1953 Bowman color and 1954 Bowman Mickey Manals. In all seriousness, I really do like these two cards. Aside from being mantle cards, I think they are legitimately stunners and among my favorites from his playing days. Both of these were found at the National 5 years apart from each other, so it's nice to see them paired up here. So that's it. That's the list. I see all these cards all the time, but it's really fun and satisfying to see them all together like this and to share them with all of you. Which one of these was your favorite? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. So thanks for coming along for the ride, guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you all soon.